All right, we're live with Trey Kle. At least that's your name currently. We were just discussing you have an interesting name shift off the bat.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into Trey. You have a really interesting history. You've been doing so many like cool things.
Thank you.
I met you at the sauna place we go to called Ember and Ice here in Boulder,
Yeah.
and you just seemed like a really cool dude. You're living out of your car. You're cooking dinner right as I was leaving the sauna, just like out of the jet boil. I was like, this guy seems cool. You know what? You live in an island off of Africa?
Yeah.
What is the island?
Tenerife. It's part of the Canary Islands.
Okay, gotcha. And yeah, so now you do all sorts of things. You're a Qigong teacher, Tai Chi teacher, Capoeira teacher. There's something else in there as well.
Few other things. So gymnastic stretching, right? Also Dao Yin, which is the progenitor of Qigong and Tai Chi and all that. Few other things.
Yeah. And so Qigong and Tai Chi, I understand that as sort of an energetic meditation. How would you describe it? Because I haven't gotten deep into Qigong, Tai Chi. My dad's done it for 20 years and he swears by it. Yeah. But I am too ADD, too high energy at this point. I need to hit the gym and run up mountains and shit.
Fair enough. I'm also a rock climber, so I totally get it.
I believe it. Trey climbs.
Indeed.
I would hope so.
To answer your question, so Qigong is called the art of effortless power, right? Now, Qigong is also called super science. For a long time, it's how people of the nobility and the lower classes healed themselves without doctors. So that's why I got into it, right?
This came from China, Qigong?
Yep, ancient China.
And so what's the distinction between Tai Chi and Qigong?
Well, Tai Chi was specifically created to help with elderly people. Tai Chi is sometimes called Chinese gymnastics for elderly people. But Tai Chi can be really strenuous, actually, depending on who you're studying under, how you're doing it. Qigong, we're often worried about the muscles on the inside, the organs, the heart, the liver, the lungs, spleen, liver, gallbladder, all these things, kidneys, body batteries, right? So there's something called energy dispersion that I was struggling with. So I was climbing, I was semi-competitively speed skating. And what it was doing was I was basically sucking the energy out of my organs to power my limbs. I was at 3.5% body fat, super fast on skates, like ridiculously fast, right? But sleeping was like not a thing.
You didn't sleep, so you just had terrible insomnia.
Yeah, and I was getting my heart rate above 200 almost 5 times a week.
Whoa.
Yeah.
See, that seems like you're just like a thriving athlete, right?
Yeah.
How did you know that your skeletal muscle was taking away from, I guess, what we call like the smooth muscle, the organs? The energy was, I guess, unbalanced?
Super unbalanced. So the short part of the story is I moved from Orlando to Miami, back to Miami, back to where I was from. And I started doing Qigong. And then I started also paying for private classes with the masters because I wanted to go fast and patient, right?
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Indeed. So he asked me to sit still for 5 minutes. Yeah, that was impossible.
Wow.
I basically vibrated all the time. Like, even when I was in the military, people would say that like in the morning before formation, I'd be like, just ready to get after it, right? And that's great for sports. Yeah. But oftentimes, physical performance at the high levels is like mutually exclusive to longevity, right? And
what do you mean mutually exclusive?
Like it's hard to have longevity as a goal and have high level physical performance.
Yeah, for sure.
You kind of have to like balance it out.
Burn hot and fast. You know, it's kind of like that.
In traditional Chinese martial arts, before 30 years old, you're asked to do a lot of kung fu, hard work, whether it's running, kung fu itself, capoeira, rock climbing, whatever. That's hard work. Energy work is strongly encouraged after 30 years old because they understand, historically, that we start to deteriorate faster if we don't put something back in to the tank. So now all these things are basically how I prepare and recover from all my high-end sports like rock climbing.
Interesting. So you still are like a high-level kind of athlete.
I try to be.
Yeah, same. I mean, it's the way to live, in my opinion.
It is.
But I've never heard that take where you sort of have to balance it out with these what seem like energetic practices.
Yeah.
And so can you run me through sort of what Qigong is?
Yeah. So remember, it means energy work, right? Or energy cultivation. So let me say it this way. So imagine I got a big climb, or some people have a big climb going on, and they've been training for weeks and months for this big climb. Let's say they're going to do the diamond on long speed, right? There's a lot of preparation for that, right? There's a lot of climbing stuff for it. But what about having the energy to actually do it on the day? So Qigong can help me meditate to go to sleep, to actually fall asleep on time, and then lower my cortisol in the morning as soon as I wake up by meditation, also Qigong meditation, right? Like Sleeping Tiger, I can share that later. And to explain, again, your question is, what is Qigong? It's my way of giving me enough energy to do everything I want to do.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I want to go back to kind of what your teacher first told you to do, which is to sit down for 5 minutes and don't move.
Yeah.
Bro, torture.
Yeah.
So for me, sitting meditation has been my saving grace. I went through these periods of just like, honestly, crippling depression, where I was like desperate for anything, something help. I didn't know what to do. The exercise wasn't doing it. The time in nature wasn't doing it. The mushrooms wasn't doing it. And then it was just like, sit the fuck down and sit with yourself.
Stillness.
And there's a quote that I love, which I think really rings true, which is, the majority of man's problems comes from his or her inability to sit quietly with themselves. And I think that's facts. Like all of these problems, can I hold it? And I've, since that period of time, done dozens of meditation retreats, and they're brutal. And what happens in those experiences for me is you're basically sitting staring at a wall for like 8 hours a day. Torture, physically, mentally, emotionally. There's nowhere to go. You're stuck with your mind. And the Zen word for retreat, a week-long silent retreat, is sesshin. So sesshin translates loosely as to see the mind clearly. And I think it's so interesting when I would see my mind clearly on those retreats, I would see how fucked it is, how edgy, and how there's so many stories that are so painful, that are really deeply unconscious. And what's interesting is I could see firsthand that all the stories that I could come to terms with, my life, my past, my childhood, how things went, my relationship to the future, death, not knowing, anything I could come to terms with, it came and it went through perception, because you're not holding on to it. You're accepting it. You're open to it. And eventually, day 6 and 7, you're only left with all the shit you cannot accept. All the stuff that you haven't let go of. You're still holding on to whatever, the fear of death, that thing that happened when I was 9 and everyone laughed at me. Whatever we can't accept, you're left with that. And that's that process of what I would call purification of mind, where I'm like looking at that bullshit that happened to me in high school, or the fact that we don't know what happens when we die, or what do I do with my life? Like all of those big, scary things. And the purification happens when we can accept that we don't know what happens when we die, that my childhood was like that. When I can accept it, interestingly, I let go of that trauma, of that fear, 100%. And the fear lets go of you. So I found, again, sitting meditation to be a saving grace of mine. But I will say also, there's something about moving the body, which I have never done in a meditative, I guess, well, maybe dance counts as like moving meditation. Indeed. I would say. But Qigong, as far as a way to really like settle the mind, settle the body before these like kind of big game experiences, like a big climb like that, I think it's different. And I think it's something that I would like to explore as far as just what it offers. And as far as like the organ energy transfer that you were talking about, how do you feel into that? How do you know there's too much energy in your skeletal muscle versus your organs? Yeah, so like a really good Qigong master can do something as simple as watch your walking gait and tell you where you have a tightness at. And usually tightnesses that are reflected on the outside have a correlation on the inside through the fascia. To organs or to? To organs. For example, your shoulder is connected to your large or small intestine. So anytime you do shoulder exercises, you're actually working on your small intestine. What? For an example. Interesting. Yeah. Or your kidneys, for example, your body batteries, right? I would call it the heart of the water element, right? The root being the bottom of your foot. So anytime I have low energy, I do something with my low foot and also my low back, right? And all of a sudden I have energy without coffee. Interesting. Wait, because that's associated with the kidneys, and the kidneys regulate energy? They not only regulate energy, they hold energy, the body batteries again, right?
And have you heard of the microcosmic orbit?
I have. Is that where you're kind of breathing into your balls? And then
essentially,
yeah.
You're going to the idea, you mentioned purification, right? So the type of Qigong, I've studied several types of Qigong, so from Korea and China, right? And Qigong in Korea, the practice I am certified with is that we want to basically reverse the heat. Most people, especially in this area, are very highly intelligent, a lot of intellectual jobs, always in the head. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I've had difficulties teaching Qigong to students here in the Front Range because they want to understand everything versus feeling it.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Like, it's like trying to explain to somebody mushrooms never been on a trip. It's like, man, you need to just do mushrooms and you'll get it.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Right? So what we do is we superheat the core, right? To start bringing the heat from the brain down here. We use that heat to purify the heart, open the heart, right? Liberation. Then we use that purification to clarify the mind. So we're constantly making students really hot, particularly in the first parts of the class. And then in the middle part of the class, we do some more advanced things and then cool them off. In other words, you're not going to come out of there like, yeah. Right. You're going to come out like, I feel good. I'm relaxed. I can yawn, but I'm not tired.
Yeah.
That's what Qigong is to me.
So, and again, I'm hesitant to try to understand this too much. A part of me is like, I just need to show up to the class.
Yeah.
I just need to pull up. I will say, from my own experience working with meditation, and especially what I practice a lot nowadays, which is what I would call imaginal practice. So recognizing the world we take as real is more imaginary than most people tend to think that it is. So we can sort of move into this new realm where the world is neither real nor is it unreal. It's what we make it. It's imaginal. Yeah. So playing with images and imagined experiences of self. Am I angel? Am I Ben the human?
Yeah.
Are we in a timeless realm? Are we God?
Yeah.
And feeling into what I would call the energy body.
There we go.
Like, what are the resonances in the body when I try on self as angel? Ben speaking right now. This is Source speaking.
Yeah.
What's the resonance in the energy body? Yeah. And for so many people, I think that's a completely unconscious concept. Yeah. The energy body. Because we're used to this very coarse, very gross, very in-your-face life.
Tactile.
It's tactile and it's intense. And it reminds me of in Tantra, like sexual Tantra, they talk about we've kind of become numb to the subtleties of sexual energy. And obviously energy, sexual energy, or any energy in particular, it's all the same energy.
All the same energy.
But with sex, like the effect of pornography, we become numb to like visual images. And also we become numb when you're just tapping it like, with no finesse. There's a lack of sensitivity. We actually lose touch with the subtle energy body, and we lose touch with something profound and something that has an immense healing ability.
Oh yeah.
And I'm curious, do you engage, like, because if you're tapped into the energy body like that, do you work with like sexual energy as a means to heal as well?
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, my partner and I both are working on this stuff together. We actually run retreats on the island as well. That are climbing, meditation, and focus on indigenous medicines as well.
What?
Right. And one of the things I'm doing here back in the Front Range, besides all the other things I mentioned, is trying to see who wants to try to learn about sexuality from this imaginal approach like you mentioned, right? I call it visualization. Same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Stuff. So one of my teachers is Mantak Chia, right? He wrote The Multi-Orgasmic Man, right? Yeah. So I read that book, and I'm also finishing a book called The Way of the Superior Man, written by David Data. Really good book. Talks about the same stuff, right? When I realized that I could use my sexual energy to power myself as compared to exploding and then feeling like I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Not only is that better for me as a human being, not running my energy out, it's also better for my partner.
Oh yeah.
Because I can just keep going.
Exactly, bro. Your stud status. Why would I not want to be that?
Exactly.
And it's like, I'm happy when she's happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a win-win. One of my friends said this kind of funny quote. I think it's probably been said by a few people, but many of the world's issues could be solved simply if men came less and women came more.
Yes.
And I'm like, it sounds funny at first, but there's something there.
Yes.
There's really something there.
Yes.
And I'm like, the selfishness and also the goal orientation. I need to nut. It's for me. And also, like, I need my partner to nut. It's like high expectations. Tantra's like, let down the goals. Just flow with the energy.
It's also unskilled, right?
Say more to that.
You learn to have sex when you're like in high school, right? Or younger, right? And so imagine someone 40 years old having sex the same way as they learned at 15.
Right.
No up level in skill.
Right.
And then the women are like, hey, I've got this older gentleman. He's like, he looks good. My family's more formal, but in the bed, he just can't do anything.
Can't hit it. And that's where there's this necessity to tune into the energy body.
Yes.
So it's like, guys, it's not just about, enlightenment and healing your organs. It's about being a stud.
Yes.
For your woman. And it's like, I mean, that's honestly a huge motivator because it's facts. And not only do you perform better, and it's a different kind of performance. It's being able to tune into the communication of your partner, which is subtle and it's not verbal. It can be verbal if you can't read the subtle communication because the body's always speaking. Always. The energy of that other person is speaking. And when you're in that intimate, connected setting, you literally become one thing. Yes. And I swear, I can feel in connected sex, I can feel what will get my partner off. It's like I already have that vision. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because we're one thing. And it's exactly. You know what I mean? And
meld together.
And we miss out on that when we're again stuck in this very coarse, desensitized experience of, life period.
Programmed.
And I wonder if you could say more to that. The programming.
Well, I sure can.
Yeah, please.
So I grew up kind of in a cult setting almost. Like a lot of people actually in America.
Interesting.
And so like women couldn't wear makeup. They had to wear jean dresses, right? And there's a lot of weirdness going on.
Is this like a legit cult or is like the American cult?
Just religious cult. Yeah. Right? Just a little too much going on. Even as a young person, I was like, something's wrong, right? And I moved around a lot in my life, right? So I got to see patterns. And that's how I actually became a software engineer, is that I'm good at noticing patterns. I'm not actually good at like small or easy math. Give me calculus, but like long division, not so much. But back to the patterns. So I'm noticing people weren't happy. I'm like, 8th grade. I'm noticing that couples aren't holding hands. And I'm like, well, and the guys are noticing the women across the street who are wearing makeup. So they're constantly doing this. And I'm like, well, why don't she just wear some makeup and you just treat her like a queen and be a servant leader? Yeah. Right? Serving the other person. Initiation into servitude as a leader, not please me because I'm the man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I do. It's like really stepping into that true masculine role. And I've known this since I was like a kid. It's like the feminine, that's like the jewel of the human experience. That's the flower. My job is just to serve that. My job is to make Bae happy, put a roof over her head, and just keep that fire alive in her. Yeah. And when the masculine can do that for the feminine, she opens. And it gives the masculine what it needs, which is to be held by that feminine. And do you know what I mean?
It's I do. I'm a Taoist. Of course I do.
Open to the flow. Yeah, open to man. The Tao.
Yeah, dude.
Effortless non-action. And that's the thing. The deeper I get on the spiritual path, just stop trying. And what comes through me when I'm with a goddamn angel is I just want to take care of them. I'm like, shorty, what do you want? Let me know. Let me know. And it feels so good to me. Yeah. And it's not in my head. It's in my bones. You know what I mean? And there's
primal.
It's primal. And there's something about acknowledging that and just getting out of the way.
Yes.
And like honoring polarities. I think it was in Hermeticism. They say polarities is a law of existence. And the way I see it in a very zoomed out way, just polarities in general. We need the masculine and the feminine. We need life, death, day, night. We need polarities to have this charge where then the electricity can flow. Exactly. And it's like in sexuality, it's like, for instance, I hold a very high masculine pole. And what works for me is a very feminine pole. It's like equal and opposite so that the energy can flow. Otherwise, the charge doesn't happen. You know what I mean? It's interesting.
I've noticed over time, I'm a little older than you, right? I noticed over time, men change. And what's interesting is that my core essence is still the same. I'm still very fire. So I've tried dating fiery girls because I find them attractive, right? Or like equals, But when I've dated them, there's like 2 fires going at it.
Tough. Good luck.
Yeah. So when I met my partner, my word of the year was submission, right? And this person, my partner, is very short, very kind, very soft, very watery. Can be, she's a woman. She can be fiery, of course, right? She can become a tsunami. And it's my job not to run, but to stand and withstand, right? But I noticed that I really do well with women like that. Even my best friend is actually a girl, and she's very water element too. She's kind of like identical to my partner. It's kind of funny. But the point is, when I see guys who are in a long-term relationship, right? Maybe they wanted a woman that was fiery like I did at one point. and then they're married, they got a kid, and now they would actually like to have somebody that's water-based, even though they may not use that vocabulary.
Yeah, what do you mean? So when you say fire versus water, what do you mean experientially?
Yeah, so yin and yang, right?
Yeah.
Yin is more relaxation, right?
Yep.
Yang is more fire, right? So, for example, like I said, my partner is very water-based, right? Very yin, very relaxing. Her presence is very inviting, right? I can be sometimes a little amped, right?
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I just meditated for an hour, so I'm kind of chill right now.
Nice,
like,
bro, yeah.
But normally I'm like, yeah, let's do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
One of my teachers actually recently told me you need to like lower your voice sometimes.
I'll be like, shit. Okay,
yeah. So I guess the another way to explain it is imagine like the ocean, right? It can be both yin and yang. When it's peaceful and calm, like on the island, it's beautiful. It feels like come to me, right? Very inviting, very yin. But when it's like crazy out there and real choppy and like boats are doing this, you know, I don't feel invited, right? It's kind of like, and so the problem is if I become too fire with my partner who's a water-based person, water-based essence, I can repel her. So you were talking about the subtleties of interaction between people, right? So even though I'm fire-based naturally, I can still lower my flame in order to facilitate love in this moment. Learning how to do that. And lastly, the other thing I'll say about this is sometimes men need both. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to have sex with her to receive that water energy from another woman. You can just have a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's been really helpful for me.
Yeah, and I think the mastery is coming from, again, controlling that flame. Because that flame is a superpower. And I will say I have the same thing. I'm just like high yang all day. I can't stop, bro. It's just in my bones. It's who I am.
Yeah.
And it's but being able to cool it down. And that's where things like meditation or time in nature, or for me, art, like poetry or playing guitar, something to channel that into so that I'm not bouncing off the fucking wall. Or, I mean, honestly, the gym and running and biking.
Yeah, all the stuff.
I mean, you know how it is.
I do. We both live here.
Yeah. And I will say in my experience, I've dated fiery girls as well. And it's I would say a lesson that I hopefully have learned once. And I don't know. It's at least, well, I guess never say never, but it's it was a traumatic experience by the end of it. It was just so toxic, so malicious. And I was like, damn, I didn't know chicks could be like that.
I thought.
I was like, damn, mommy turned on me and now I'm back to being 6 years old and getting haunted. And
it's rough.
I think what we're speaking to is the necessity of balance. And I remember when I was at a Zen center living up in Vermont years ago, they had a calligraphy piece in the Zendo that said harmony is best, regardless of whatever, liberation or inner peace. Harmony with your surroundings is best. Yes. And being able to step out of that, what I would call a more egoic experience of it's me. And I know what's good for me. Is if we actually let go of that and tune in again to the subtleties of our surroundings and the people there, that's when we're just naturally in the Tao, we could say. Yeah. In Wu Wei, effortless non-action. We're just kind of flowing with what's here without having this agenda, which I would say is also connected to a very, like you said, heady experience. How here in America in the West, we seem to funnel all of our energy to the head. Yes. And we think. Oh, I got problems. Oh, I feel pain. Let me try to think it away. Yeah. Good luck. If you've ever had problems and you just send the energy to your brain, there are some problems you can't think away.
You just can't.
And that's where, again, for me, there's something about exercise and there's something about sitting meditation. Yeah. Where for me, again, sitting, I love how I always plug sitting meditation because I really think it's the hands down, one of the most beneficial things you can do as a human being to improve the quality of your life. And just you sit chest up, spine straight, and whatever's coming up emotionally, energetically, you take it in the chest. You take it like a man. I'm not hunching over. I'm not trying to fix it. I'm not trying to run from it. I take it. Yeah. Because it's like, that's what I learned early in life is some things you can't run from and you can't fix. You got to take.
You just got to sit with it.
And the way out is through.
Yeah.
And again, it's like it's the last thing that we as human beings want to do is to accept pain. And I think, just to really zoom out, we're in a process of accepting deep pain at a macro societal level right now. I see a dark night of the soul at a level of a whole culture right now, where we either numb, get the video games, the porn, the sports, look away, look away, look away, or you make eye contact with that big scary shit that's looming. I don't know, like nuclear apocalypse or AI takeover. No one has a job. What do we do? Or scarce resources. Let's just like actually pay attention to the way that the world is right now. And if you're paying attention, it hurts. And that's not wrong. That's not wrong. There's something that needs your attention right now. That needs, I would say, our attention right now.
Indeed.
And I think the more that we stick our heads in the dirt, the closer that nuclear apocalypse wasteland is actually coming. And it seems like, again, we have to look at this and to purify the world through purifying our own individual fear. And that is a process of being with. And it's the same fear that is going to cause a motherfucker to push that button and nuke us all.
It's always fear.
It's that same fear that lives in us, that lives in me, that lives in you, that lives in anyone listening. And I will say from my experience, every human being on the planet Earth has a capability to transmute any fear.
Yeah.
By building a healthy relationship to it.
There we go. Go ahead.
No. This is such a potent topic. Yeah, right, dude. We got two fire elements right here.
Yeah, man. 100%.
But fear is natural, right? There's nothing wrong with fear inherently. But interestingly, it seems to be the fear of fear. Where fear is here and what do I do? Do I run? Do I fix it? That's what amplifies it to this big, scary existential level. Yeah. When I can hold fear and I can look it in the eyes and I don't have to run.
Smile at it.
Exactly. It can't touch you in the same way.
Nope.
It can't touch you in the same way. And and in a very deep dharmic way. So in Buddhism, they talk about dependent origination, where the world arises due to actually clinging and contraction. And we could summarize fear as the primordial contraction, where you feel it in your chest, you feel it in your central channel, and in your mind too. The contraction of fear, it causes suffering. The contraction itself is suffering. And the contraction itself also solidifies abstract stories, abstract information into a solid story that we call reality. The fear does that. So interestingly, when I can own my fear, look it in the eyes and alchemize it, transmute it, all of a sudden the stories of the fear become much less solid and the suffering associated with the fear dissolves. And it gives a new credence to that quote, which is there's nothing to fear but fear itself.
Yes.
Because there's nothing here except that in a sense.
Yeah. Man, I've got 1,000 fear stories. One in particular.
I mean, you're a climber.
Yeah. So I'm climbing like a year and a half, trad, sport, indoor, bouldering, everything.
Wait, did you say you've been climbing for a year and a half?
No, this story.
I was going to say, yeah. You seem
No, I've been climbing for a while. Yeah. So we're going up to Estes Park to climb a Lumpy Ridge. And my climbing coach and I are in his truck. And he looks over to me and says, hey, man, he mentions my background and my size compared to most of the guys in the group. He says, like, you're like one of the biggest dudes in the group, and you scream the most, and you're scaring us.
Oh.
He said, it's happening so much, man. Some of the guys in the team are complaining to me about it. So I'm telling you to your face, as your friend and as your coach, if you can't get this like figured out like really soon, we're going to have to stop inviting you to climb with us. Now, mind you, I had just moved from Miami a year and a half prior. These are the guys I spend basically all my time with outside of work. We're either climbing in the gym, climbing outside, going on climbing trips, Wyoming, Devil's Tower, Utah. We're doing all this stuff, right? Salpo, Shelf Road. So anyway, I'm like, all right. So literally from that moment on, I've had about 80% less fear indoor and about 60% less fear outdoor. One conversation. I didn't get stronger. I didn't get faster. I didn't improve technique in that conversation. It was just all here.
Interesting.
And I was like, okay. And now, like when I'm in the gym, I'm not trying to sound like tough. I don't try to be a tough guy at all. But I'm really not scared. Outside, I get scared, even on easy things, right? Sometimes it's just scary. But indoor, what I'm doing, I'm like, what's going to happen, right? There's a soft floor. You know what I mean? Right. We got automatic belay devices. Like, we're good, Yeah. And some of my friends have mentioned something about it. Like, how'd you get like that? I'm like, well, yeah, there's the Qigong and all that. But it was that one conversation. It's crazy, right?
So my question is, what happened for you internally? What was that switch where you're like, do you not feel the fear? Or do you feel it and you own it? Again, do you look it in the eyes or does it not register?
All the above. So during that period, I was also reading this book I think it's called Breath. And I've been studying Qigong at that point, like maybe 8 years, right? And practicing and teaching. So I've been working with these tools, but also climbing was the first time actually having objective fear, right? Not subjective fear. Oh, I feel bad. Maybe something's going to happen. No, something can actually happen.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So I never forget, he asked me to start leading other groups, not just being with us and following, right, with them. So I had to like really man up because I got to put the rope up with people who have no idea what we're doing. So basically I'm soloing all the time.
Is this like sport climbing or trad? Yeah.
Some trad, mostly sport, right? But either way, you can get hurt, right?
For sure.
One day I'm on the side of Wall Street in Moab, right? My partner's there. She's a triathlon girl, right? It's my ex-partner. She doesn't really know about this stuff. I go up. There's only like one sport route. Everything else is trad. I didn't bring a trad rack. I didn't know. So I'm going up really high. And somebody came by afterwards and said, hey, man, did you know there's a walk-up? Because it's so dangerous. There's a walk-up right here. And I didn't know that. My point is, that's great on the climbing wall. But being able to use that interpersonally, like when you have a boss in your face or a child in your face or a partner in your face, bringing heat, what do you do then?
Yeah.
So what I do when I climb is I breathe in 5.5 seconds. I breathe out the entire time. So it's a moving meditation, which brings me back to, you mentioned sitting meditation a couple times. My original meditation courses 10 years ago started lying meditation in different positions that actually facilitate engaging the water element pretty intensely, actually. Some of these meditations you probably couldn't do more than a few minutes when you first start. I was in super shape and I was trembling.
So, what do you mean you couldn't do it? Are you
energy
moving?
You're holding your body in such a way. One's called Sleeping Tiger 1. I can't do it all the way right. I'm sitting, but your feet are up in the air. Your toes are, you're like just over your knees. You're like looking up, you can see your toes, right? Your legs are kind of open out this way, and you're holding your hands up, and you're breathing in your nose, and it's called reverse breathing. So I'm not filling my belly up at all. I'm only moving my chest. So you're holding your feet up. Imagine doing that for 20 minutes. You're just holding your feet up like this.
Your core, you must have been shredded, bro.
Oh, yeah. And then more importantly, when you do the level 3, the highest level, you hold here or here, and you pull your toe back. So you're in an L position, essentially, right? Your head's here, your butt's here, your feet are pulled back.
Yeah.
What that ends up doing over the course of 20, 30, 40, 60 minutes, it literally shreds your traps down your back, like literally yanks tractions, your trapezius down into your low back, putting all of this back down, this is fear. Stress hormones puts it down. It's really hard to do. I still do it all the time, and it's still, every time it's challenging.
Dude, I love everything you're saying. It's so interesting because I think we can have this sort of top-down approach where it's like from the mind, let's work with fear psychologically through spiritual techniques, ways of seeing and relating to things. But then we can do also the sort of bottom up from the body, actually. Something like yoga or running. Like it's like, for me, if I'm ever pissed, if I'm ever anxious, I'm gonna go to the park and do 15 sprints. And I feel pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah.
The energy's gone. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
And so there's something about that bottom up that we have kind of, some people seem to have forgotten about, especially in spiritual circles. Because I see in spiritual circles, and this is, well, I guess this is kind of a critique, actually. It's
That's all right.
Sometimes it's like the spiritual folks seem very soft physically. And it's like, everyone's different. I get that. But it's like, if we want to have a high quality of experience, we absolutely cannot turn on the body. We need to harness it as a tool. Again, not me, not mine, objectively speaking.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to identify with it, although I do love rocking the fucking tats and the piercings and looking pretty. Why the fuck not?
Why not?
But at the same time, the body is a tool. It's the tool of infinite different things. One of which is we have a pharmacy that's like accessible to us. Like in skeletal muscle, when you move your body, endorphins get released, neurotransmitters get released. And it's like, I was talking about this at Ember and Ice the other day, because I have clients, I've had clients in the past that have self-harmed, for instance. So like people cut themselves. And my question is, so with self-harm, people are trying to actually avoid mental, cognitive, psychological pain through physical pain. And I'm like, just go to the gym with me, dog. Literally. You ever back squat till you about to throw up? Let's hit it.
I have done that.
Yeah, me too. And I'm like, and that's the thing. I really don't know where I would be if I didn't discover the gym early in my life. Before I discovered meditation, before I discovered kind of Eastern arts, it was just, okay, I'm going to explode if I don't get this energy out somewhere, somehow, and sports, you know, thank God.
Same.
But I think that, I mean, I want to hear your take on it too. I think that there maybe is an image of what spirituality looks like for some people, where the jacked athlete maybe doesn't fall into that category. Do you know what I'm saying with that?
I struggle with this. So I went from powerlifter to capoeirista. It's an enormous paradigm shift, right?
You said capoeirista?
Yeah, capoeirista. Person who plays capoeira, right? So the sagittal plane is a powerlifting life, right? Up and down, up and down. Even when you're benching, up and down. Squatting, up and down. Deadlift, up and down. Power cleans, up and down, basically, right? But turning to the side, oh my goodness. And I'm wrapping this into spirituality too, because before, when I was a powerlifter, I was more religious. But getting into capoeira kind of dropped that from me, and I became more of an animist, right? Meaning I see the souls of everything's interconnected without mushrooms. I work in counter-narcotics in the military. So for the longest time, I was like, none of that stuff, right? A little different now.
You have an interesting life, bro.
Thanks, man.
Keep going. We'll can get into it.
So I found myself playing capoeira by myself. And obviously, I was training with a studio as well. But I find myself doing it all the time as a moving meditation. I could hear the music without playing music. So I remember one time, I'm in my ex-wife's family's home in Orlando. And I'm outside in the grass just going back and forth with just the basic movements for like hours. And they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm so happy. No drugs, no alcohol, no nothing. That was all my medicine was coming from me, you know? I didn't need to go somewhere and pay a rabbi or nothing like that, you know? Not that I'm against anything or critiquing, but I too, because I grew up in a very religious context, all I ever saw was come to church, sit, listen to one guy talk, and then eat. Yeah. And typically bad food. Yeah. Bad for me anyway. And I just was like, I can't do this. Like, let's do something else, you know? But many people just didn't want to do that. Life.
It's interesting. I mean, for me, there seems to be a relationship with, again, the physical body and the psychological mind and what appeals to us. And it sounds like you got into something that was physically more flowy. And all of a sudden, interesting, the mind follows and you pick up on animism and the interrelationships we have with all living things and also all inanimate things. Exactly. Which I think is such a cool idea. Not idea, it's a fact. When we're not clouded with delusions, when we're not living in the mind, again, the body is communicating to things all the time.
All the time.
And what's cool is this is where I like to talk about this notion of soul, where objects have soul.
Yes.
Like obviously trees, plants, clouds, mountains have souls.
Cars.
Cars. Exactly, cars. And it's so interesting hearing psychologist James Hillman talk about this because he's like, the body, without trying, it's not a conceptual practice. You feel into the soul of something like, let's say, a plastic, whatever, McDonald's toy. No soul. Nothing there. Certain clothes, no soul. No soul. And then there's pieces, you get like a gold medallion from like a Spanish conquistador or some shit. There's some soul in that.
You feel it.
Exactly. Or you go to a very eclectic old gypsy lady's house and it's just like set up like with soul. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's not conceptual. You don't have to try. We are sensing soul all the time. And it's like we as human beings have that expression too, where I hate to say it, but it seems like the dominant culture is conditioning human beings to inhabit this plastic mold of what a human being is and what a human being isn't. And that mold sucks the soul out of beings. I don't know if it's like intentionally malicious or what's going on there, but it seems like, again, there's a certain mold in America where you can sense it. Something's off.
All imperial countries.
Empire. Because I think empire is afraid of soul. They're afraid of something they can't control. And when everyone's a plastic conveyor belt person, easy to control.
And also necessary, right? So for a country that needs to expand its borders, not that I'm pro that.
No, yeah, please.
But if a king's job is to expand the borders, he needs people to do what he says.
Or else it's not going to work.
It's not going to work. I was in the military, right?
Yeah.
One reason I got out is because I started using my own brain. I hit 20 years old, and all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, why are we running after this? Why are we in South America? Why can't I see my family? Yeah. Oh, we're working counter narcotics. America's the biggest purchaser of cocaine. Why am I down here? This doesn't make any sense.
Damn, he's too smart.
Yeah, I was like, time to go. You know?
That's crazy, yeah.
But think about it. If nationalism wasn't used, not that I'm pro-nationalism, but if nationalism wasn't there, people would just go wherever they wanted.
Absolutely.
Borders would fall.
Absolutely. So I think we have to, and that's where, at the ultimate sense, we have to honor the flow of everything. Again, the Tao doesn't miss. The flow of creation, the flow of God, it doesn't miss. It's the human mind that says, oh, there's something wrong here. Are you sure? Because what we really are doesn't miss. It flows flawless every time. So can we recognize the beauty in the sort of the conceptual, not just conceptual, the societal systems that we live within? For instance, like capitalism and like materialism, individualism, consumerism. There was a reason for that. When we were still like kind of, I mean, you know, RIP to Native North Americans, but when we were colonizing this country and just North America in general, it was wilderness. Yeah. There was we were like, yo, can we build a fucking city in this bitch? Like, so there's a reason. Back in the day, we're like, thank God. You know what I mean? Yeah. But now we're at this point, like, we have all of our, you know, humanly physical needs met.
All of them.
Most people. Obviously, still there's exceptions. Yeah. But at the same time, we are forced to ask a question which I think is profound and is going to cause a exponential leap in consciousness, actually, which is, how do we live a good life? If we have everything physically, is that a good life? Because we have everything physically and still immense suffering.
Okay, I got something for that. So I grew up kind of poor, like starving poor. Like my mother maybe eating one meal a day or none so we could eat. And then maybe sometimes that didn't even work.
Wow. Where did you grow up?
Well, military brat. But the most poor I felt was in Tennessee. Some things happened in life with the family, and went from a nice house to not so nice house with roaches and rats and fleas jumping around. But then, after the military, I started working for the federal government as a programmer, as a contractor. A lot of money. So at first it was like, oh wow, money, it's great. I can buy stuff that I've never had before. And then over time of having it, I'd forgotten what it was like to not have it. Right? And I was very unhappy. I remember I lived in Miami, beautiful house, beautiful wife, beautiful job, 2 brand new cars. And I would walk around on my lunch break like, what am I doing? Like, this is pointless.
Interesting.
And I started, digging into sports, martial arts, all these things just to like keep my brain alive. Because even though coding is very challenging mentally, it's not challenging physically whatsoever, other than just hurting, right? Yeah. So, I went through all the things like, powerlifting, kettlebells, high intensity calisthenics. You ever heard of the Bar Stars?
No.
They're like pull-up bar exhibition group based out of New York, but they're also in Miami and Atlanta and all that. I used to train with those guys. And if they had the different schedule, I would have went with them and did that job. So this is really hard stuff. These guys are like doing pull-ups and flying over the bar. Damn. Like, and then catching on the way down, right? Whoa. Flipping around. Like, I used to train with those guys. Sick. But even that, I still was like, okay, how much stronger do I need to get till I'm happy? I'm still unhappy, right? So then eventually, maybe 4 or 5 years later, I end up in this Qigong course, and they're teaching me meditation and trying to get me to sit still, like I told you, which didn't work. It took 6 Reiki masters to breathe into my body in different locations to get me to sit still. Whoa. It was crazy.
Damn.
They were like, yeah, this is not uncommon with alphas.
Wow.
No femininity, all masculine, no balance, right? Just fire, burning my own body up from the inside. When I first became part of the temple, one of the main masters said, I give you about 3 months to live.
What? Why?
Energy dispersion. All my organs were completely flat energetically. I went to get a medical massage before I went to this thing. It was in Atlanta. It's like $300 an hour. It's expensive massage, right? The lady went through my stomach into my psoas, and I literally peed myself and almost number 2'd myself. Really? Just from her.
What does that mean?
So the psoas is the only muscle, that hinges the upper and lower body. It's what makes us bipedal, right? Like a bear doesn't have a psoas. We do, right? It connects from the low back into the hips, right? As a skater, remember, I'm spending 5 hours getting my heart rate up to 220 sometimes 230, which is really high. After 200, I start to cry. It looks like I'm having a bad day, but I'm really excited. What? The problem is I had marital problems. I'm working. I used to work for Intel's high performance data division as a software engineer, working hard, right? 8 a.m. to midnight most of the time. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm skating at full speed, max capacity, taking everything I could take to be on top, like ashwagandha, other things, right? But I'm winning all the time. Nobody could beat me until I couldn't beat myself by not even being able to sleep. So she touched my cell. She says, whatever you're doing, you should stop now. This is like, whatever, January.
Yeah.
Right?
Wait,
Atlanta.
this year?
No, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Before I really got deep into Qigong. I started studying Qigong in 2014. I started like really studying it as far as with a temple and masters in 2016. And those masters were the ones that were saying, hey, you're going to die. And this is a month after I had that medical massage. They don't know each other. This is in Atlanta. This is Miami. And I was like, I think someone's telling the truth.
Yeah.
Right?
Sketchy.
Yeah. And even my friends are like, hey, man, you should chill out.
How did you feel at this point in your life?
On the skate floor, I felt invincible.
Yeah.
Like completely like invincible. Like, like if a car hit me, I felt like it wouldn't even bother me.
Damn.
Right? Just totally Superman.
Energy.
Right? Energy. As a matter of fact, when I first started doing these like 12-hour compassion meditations, it's a mixture of them teaching you something, and then meditating for hours, right? Different positions, like I was telling you. This is kind of funny. I'm in downtown Miami on a Friday night, right? I'm in the middle of a painful divorce. I'm alone. I don't feel like partying. So for some reason, even before I started rock climbing, I started climbing the scaffolding for one of the buildings downtown. It's like 9 p.m.
Damn.
Barefoot, by the way. Like actually barefoot, like no shoes,
gangster.
Downtown, right? I was a little ticked off with life. I was about 2 stories up.
Damn.
And I slipped. I fell on the concrete right in front of a tourist. This lady had her like baby in a carriage, like pushing. I landed maybe 5 feet in front of her. She freaks out, right? And then she's like, "Are you okay?" I stand up out of the squat position that I landed in, and I was completely fine.
Dude.
And
Wait, you fell on your feet?
Yeah, I landed like Spider-Man, dude.
Bro.
And I was like, I'm here.
That's epic.
Right? Now, mind you, I used to be a paratrooper in the Army, right? So I've hit trees landing. I've hit the ground hard. I've landed. I've had some bad landings, right? When I got to the military, I couldn't even do this for 5 years from hitting trees, jumping, right? So now I fall 20 feet with no shoes, no protection after doing hours and hours of meditation for weeks and months. And I don't even have any pain, not even the next day, not the next day after that. What? Falling 20 feet, right? That's the power of meditation.
That's wild, bro. Because the energy is, what would you call it, aligned?
Yeah. Okay, let me plug for the feminine then.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting ready to start a podcast about divine femininity and masculinity, right? So in this Taoist-based Qigong from Korea, one of the meditation tools they use is these very effeminate sighing techniques at the end of your breath, your out breath. So this is, again, reverse breathing. So I'm only breathing into my chest. But when you breathe out, there's no force. It's just allowing it to go like this. No noise. And at the very end, right before you're out of exhale.
Interesting. Wait, let me try it. Breathe in the chest.
Hard to do sitting. You breathe either way, it doesn't matter. Just let it out. And let it extend. Lower your voice even more. Soften it. It's very feminine.
It is. It feels weird.
It feels weird. That's what I said. I was like, I'm not doing that. So I started paying for the private courses so I wouldn't have to do that in front of the ladies in the course.
That makes sense.
I was like, I'm not doing that. Are you crazy? Like,
not in front of the ladies.
Girl, you know?
Yeah.
Don't let the pink and the orange fool you. You know what I mean? But the proof is in the pudding. When I fell off that thing and I was completely fine, and at the same time, I was actually training for Ninja Warrior and I was still competing in skating.
You were training for Ninja Warrior? Did you get on Ninja Warrior?
No. My grandmother talked me out of it, mostly because I was doing it to get a girl. I wanted to win.
Not a bad reason.
Yeah, I was like 28, something like that, years old.
It.
I'm like, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna tell her I love her. She was like, that's stupid.
That's hilarious. She's like, shut up.
Yeah. So you asked me, was it about being aligned? And I could say yeah, but like in the Tao, right? Face the masculine, but embrace the feminine, right? So I would say it was a little more on the feminine side, even though I'm a man, right? And that ability to embrace the feminine, I think is what kept me from getting really hurt. Interesting.
And I think, so from the Taoist lens, that the femininity is the flow. We could say the masculine is sort of the power. The feminine is that flow. And embracing into that, what the Alan Watts book is, the watercourse way. You know, it's like,
Taoist.
What do they say? It's like that which is hard shatters and breaks, but that which flows is sort of invincible.
Actually, something about that. So two of the books I read to get to the point where I'm living out of my car and building my own business.
I would love to talk about that too. It's kind of sick.
I figured, yeah. One was called The Soul of Money, written by Lynn Twist. Now, remember, I grew up poor, but I've been making a lot of money since like 2005, right? A lot of IT money, working for the government, all that. So I'm used to certain things, but very unhappy. So anyway, I moved to this island, Canary Island, during COVID 5 years ago, with the express purpose of like calming myself down for once in my life. Like I said, I couldn't even sit down still for 5 minutes, right? So anyway, I'm trying to embrace these things, and I'm having difficulties because I still like rock climbing like crazy and all that. And I'm reading all these Taoist books about masculinity and all these things, and I'm trying to like put it together. But then like nothing's fully working. So I read this book, and it gets me to stop having fear about needing so much money, right? Then right after that, I read a book from Michael Singer called The Surrender Experiment.
That's an epic book, bro.
Super epic. I went hiking every day and listened to it for like a month until I was done with it.
Crazy.
And that book really like dropped all the fear, right? And now I'm reading a Zen Buddhist book called Smile at Fear. And I've read a few others, but the point was basically that within some indigenous medicines and some hallucinogenic help, if you will.
It helps.
Oh, yeah. It kept telling me the way is clear. That's all I kept hearing. No matter what the medicine was, whenever it was just nature, rock climbing, if I reflected afterwards, I kept feeling the way is clear. And on top of that, Alan Watts talks about this visceral, violent reaction you can get from not following your soul's purpose.
Yeah.
I got to that point with software. I would sit there, and I was at the top of my game, senior engineer, blah, blah. It's like, I don't want to do this. And like my body would start to hurt. Yeah. I would just sit there and like, oh my gosh, my shoulders would pop up just from sitting from a laptop for 5 minutes. And at that point, I was like, gotta cut it, gotta figure it out.
That's so interesting. I've heard, I forget who said it, but that cancer can be a disease that is spawned through unfulfilled potential. And we can relate that to soul, the purpose of why we're here. And if we're being honest, obviously everyone has a reason to be here.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
But we need to slow down to sink into that. And I would actually also say we need to enter into darkness. There's an initiatory purpose to darkness. It strips away all the bullshit that doesn't serve you. Whatever, the chicks, the partying, the bullshit, the Netflix, the video games, all the bullshit that doesn't serve you, it's not going to help you in the dark. And eventually you're only left with, for me, the only thing that ever matters. And I love this book, Soulcraft, which really talks about...
I'm reading it right now.
Bro,
I was just thinking, Bill Plotkin, right?
Epic book, bro.
The whole time you said soul, I was like, bing, bing, bing.
That's one of my favorite books of all time. One of my favorite books of all time. So Plotkin, he talks about at some point in your life, when you get acquainted with your own soul, you make a promise that it would kill you to break. And for me, when I found that, like I'm building this brand. I'm beginning to really teach. And it's like, I don't give a shit if it has the impact, which I know that it can have. And I'm going to say it will have.
Yes, there we
go. But
go.
At the same time, I don't give a shit. It's the fact that I have no choice.
Exactly how I feel.
Right, bro. Again, it's a promise that I made that it would kill me to break. And guess what? I didn't have a choice in the matter. Yeah. Something, again, gives me chills. Something very deep is speaking to you. Yeah, something beyond language. Something beyond words. Something you feel. Something you know, but you can't pin. That thing speaks to all of us if we can slow down and receive that. And it's what it gives me. I'm just like dripping in chills.
I get it.
But there's something so profound about that, where it gives our lives meaning. And it's not even about my life. It's about, did I do what spirit asked of me? Did I take those chances? Did I go for it? Fuck what anyone else thinks. Fuck if it's successful or not. Did I go for it? And that's what spirit wants. And I swear, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it, is looking at all of us and saying, are you him? Are you? Are you gonna rise to the occasion, or are you not? Do I gotta find somebody else?
Ooh, you know what, man? There's this thing my climbing coach taught me called 3, 2, 1, go. Basically means is there's this concept called hang dogging in rock climbing. It's basically when you're just like hanging in the harness, you're taking too long to get going again.
Taking a break, shaking
like,
out
yeah,
the
I'm shake out. You know what I mean? 5 minutes, no big deal. Like, while your partner's sitting there like looking up, like, dude, hurry up.
You're like, one sec.
Right. So when I was going to be a pastor in 2010, believe it or not.
Dude, you have a sick life, dude. We got to get into the history of these days. But
fair.
Keep going.
This one teacher was talking about how you can have basically spiritual awakening in one moment. The moment you decide to bend to it, right? And from that moment on, you have the spiritual awakening, right? Create your own reality. Like you were saying earlier about the imaginary, right? So one day we're climbing and he goes, hey man, from now on, this is your protocol. You get 5 belly breaths. And after that, 3, 2, 1, go. What that means is during the 5 belly breaths, around count number 3, I'm looking at the hole, wondering where I'm going to put my feet at. Because as soon as I get to 5, it's all right, 3, 2, 1, go. And so I've been taking that same concept in everything I do in life, right? Maybe take some breaths, center real quick, and then go. No more deliberating, ruminating, sitting in the house, asking 15 people what they think about it. Just follow my spirit. Not that counsel is bad, right? The Bible says with many counselors, plans succeed, right? I still believe that part. So, like for example, when you invited me here, I was like, yeah, surrendering to the flow of life as well. Which is a very feminine thing to do. To surrender. I was raised to grab life by the horns, shake the shit out of it to get what I wanted, right? My father was in the military. My grandfather was in the military. My mother was in the military. My ex-wife was in the military. I was in the military. All in offensive units, put it that way, right? But when I got into the Tao and learned about surrendering more to the feminine and letting go in general and how that actually can be a good thing, at first, it was like, you got to be crazy. Right. But I can detail to you so many things that have happened since I've been following this flow that, like, I don't even know how sometimes I'm going to eat. And then it ends up happening without me even trying.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's the power.
Dude, and there's something about trust and faith.
Yeah.
And trust and faith in what we are beyond the limiting egoic formation.
Yes.
The egoic self, exactly, which again I will say is rooted in fear. I've heard Buddhist teacher Reggie Ray actually say that the whole egoic formation, which is an illusion really, is actually a trauma response. Where because we're so afraid, again, what does fear do? It contracts and it solidifies. Where all of a sudden what I am is really objectively just this mind and body. Or at least that's what it seems at the level of perception when we are still living in that trauma response. And when you, again, can face fear, look it in the eyes, the fear of death, actually. I found the fear of death is actually the primary link to the ego. 100%. They come together. When there's a fear of this abstract idea called death, a couple things happen. Again, we construct suffering instantly out of the blue in the present moment towards this abstract thing in the future, which will never occur. We'll always be right here in the present. Even at that point of what you can call death, do you want to be afraid of that?
No.
Right. Do you want to contract away from it? So what I found is when I became deeply intimate with death, and this was for me on high doses of mushrooms by myself in the mountains in my early 20s.
Wow.
Going on runs and backpacking and just like sitting with these abstract ideas. And I mean, these big, scary ideas of like, so what does happen when we die? And it reminds me of when I was a kid, I asked my mom when I was like 6 years old, Mom, what happens when we die? You know, when you look at your parents and you think they know everything. And she's like, actually, nobody knows. And I was like, wait, what?
Nobody?
What do you mean? Because my parents were both doctors, so I they were in the medical paradigm.
Right.
And that was like my first existential crisis when I was tiny. And I remember so ruminating in the mountains on what is death and just really not embracing death, just not knowing and saying that's okay. Deeply okay.
Yeah,
and
I had
just what happened from that is when the resistance to death fell away. The fear of death fell away. The solidity of death being a real thing dissolved, and also the ego that dies fell away. Because they come together. When I'm not afraid of death and it dissolves, so does the solid ego, and everything becomes fluid, malleable, and what I would call imaginal. Not inherently real, but neither real nor unreal.
I like that. So that for me started with rock climbing as well, right? Again, there's the 3, 2, 1 go thing, but there's also the screw it. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go for it anyway. And I'd say 8 times out of 10 that works. A couple times it doesn't, you know.
Fuck it. That's it's
life, right?
Literally.
But that freedom I got from the fear of death through rock climbing has been extremely powerful for me. Which is the main reason why I try to evangelize rock climbing, not to like be strong and all that. Yeah, that comes with it as like a secondary thing. But really, it's a conversation with fear. It's a relationship with fear. You get to talk to it every week if you want, right? It talks back.
Sick.
I remember being in El Dorado Canyon, the reason I moved to this area, climbing trad with a buddy of mine, my craziest buddy, Irish descent. And it's cold. It's 7 a.m. There's nobody there. It's snow. We're in the wind ridge. You know why they call it the wind ridge? Because it's windy.
I believe it.
It's 27 degrees without the wind.
Ugh.
I can't feel my finger. I'm from Miami, man. It's like cold, you know? And I can't feel, which means it makes me more fearful. So my buddy goes, are you going to do it or are we going to go home and be chumps? And I'm like, all right. So I do it. And I make it, actually. But even if I didn't make it, the point is I tried.
And there's something about action sports, like, you know, base jumping, rock climbing, mountain biking, you could die instantly, basically instantly. Yeah. And the thing is, so many people that sit on the couch and watch people do that are like, why would they ever do that?
They're crazy.
But when you're in that action sport, you know why you do it. Because that bliss of walking that tightrope with death and not missing, that flow state is worth dying for. Yeah. Like skiing, snowboarding hella fast, you know, ripping through trees. Literally, it's like a timeless state. It's like the whole sense of self as we normally experience it falls away. The sense of time falls away. There's pure experience.
Flow state.
Literally. And that is something I would say is actually worth dying for. And again, when you view, again, the world as imaginal, we are actors, as I foretold you. Yeah. And this is like a Shakespeare line. And we are melted into air, into thin air. Yeah. We are the stuff that dreams are made on. And this little life is rounded with a sleep. And recognizing that we are actors. We are not these literal, solid things that everyone thinks that we are. We're playing a part here. And if my part is going out like a gangster, like, you know, ripping it on a mountain bike and falling off a cliff, bro, fuck it. I mean, it could be where I could be sitting on a couch playing video games, jacking off. And I'd be like, legitimately, I would rather die in some crazy way.
Same.
on that flow state, living life to the fullest. Because that's the thing. There's a quote that I read today, which is, I think it's T.S. Eliot, who said, the world won't end with a bang, it'll end with a whimper. And I would rather go with a fucking bang every time. Same. And like the thing is, I see this paradigm at a large scale of people, again, sticking their head in the dirt, numb, look away, electronics, Instagram, video games.
Fear. I feel it in the U.S.
Oh, dude.
After being gone for 5 years, it's palpable to me.
And for somebody like me, you can see that fear, you can feel that fear. And because like looking at fear and alchemizing it is my practice, I'm eating that shit up. It's like, what a great proving ground for me to become like literally archangel status, because everyone's afraid. Yeah. And it's so subtle and so universal that people can't see it. They just think this is how things are. And that's one of the benefits of international travel. Is being able to go to other places and people have radically different worldviews. People have radically different value systems, goals, ambitions in life. And you come back to the States. For me, it was India, which is a different fucking planet. Like literally. And then I came back to the United States and I'm like, oh, all these people are living in a sort of a spell. Like it's a magical spell that, you know, convinces people to, for instance, like part of your life, like work 16 hours a day in front of a glowing screen. Right. That seems like black magic to me.
It is, right? I gotta do it. I gotta do it. You know?
Literally though.
It's bad, man. It's I found myself, there was a part of me that liked coding just to code, right? But then the money started coming. Then you get used to the money. Yeah. Then you don't know how to not be used to the money. Right. So I moved to the island. So my last car, I won't tell you the number or what it was, but let's say it was a whole lot of money. Yeah. Right. Riding around Boulder, big dog, right?
I'm kind of curious what it was.
Yeah. So I get to the island. I buy a $3,000 minivan cash. My second vehicle, I buy a $6,000 Suzuki Jimny. It's like a Samurai, right? I keep buying these like $6,000 cars. My friends are like, didn't you used to have the big dog? You know, I'm like, I actually had a Suzuki Samurai in DC and I had a Nissan Titan at the same time, brand new. I only drove the Titan to see my parents in Tennessee. I drove the little Suzuki around everywhere because it felt like more me. Yeah. And it was hard for my ego though, especially when one of my coworkers was like, why don't you drive your man car next time so you can park next to me? Ooh, shit. And there's girls there in the parking lot. And I was like, hey man, this is my man car. Yeah. That one's for my family. my wife, my kids, you know, and he like didn't get it. You know?
Yeah. And again, we're so conditioned to kind of assess value on material things. And I want to speak to this point about renunciation.
Yeah.
And so you made, it sounds like oodles of money doing tech stuff.
Yeah.
You know, sounds like a common story.
Mm-hmm.
But then it seems like something in you was like, this is not quite it. And again, when I met you, you had the minivan, and you were cooking food out of your like camping stove.
Yep.
And I come from a very similar place of like deep renunciation. When I was just like an OG hippie, again, just in the mountains eating mushrooms. I don't give a fuck.
Yep.
Like, and it's
LSD.
like it's just the simple life.
Yeah.
And so I saw that in you, and I was like, he gets it. And for me, then I went on this spiritual journey, really. And I just worked at farms, went to Zen centers, did like construction jobs just for some cash on the side.
Yeah.
Living so simply, no goals.
Yeah.
And I will say easily, without a question, that was the happiest time of my life. And it's like all of a sudden come back into life, everything's complex. I'm in this world of mental stories, all these goals, ambitions, things to do, people see. Yeah. And it clouds something that is immensely meaningful, and that is the light of creation unblocked. When you're not in the conceptual world, you can sink into what this place is when it's everything simple and just clear, and it's hard to put it into words. I would say a miracle, beautiful, awe, wonder. Like, I remember when I was working on these farms, I could be brought to tears just looking at the stars going on a walk. I didn't do shit. I didn't have social media. I would play guitar, meditate, work on the farm, and go on walks. Yeah. And dude, it was the happiest point of my life. And I still have this ambition, this knowing actually. When I do what I'm here to do, after I fulfill my soul's purpose or purposes, I can't wait to just like go to some place in the mountains, like, or whatever, in nature, and just play my fucking guitar and go on walks. And
I play myself, I get it.
and it's like, there's something so like romantic and beautiful about that. And it's like that connection with life you can't get when you're moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You cannot get it.
Are you familiar with the male archetypes, the masculine archetypes?
Somewhat. Like what? Like the warrior, the artist, the lover.
The warrior, the lover, the magician, right? I mentioned a minute ago you were talking about something that made me think about the lover. So the king was taught to me, maybe sometimes the shadow, but still the king was taught to me. The warrior was definitely taught to me, right? The magician, I was an engineer for a long time, so but the lover, I had lost that in my engineering life, right? The ability to appreciate a sunrise, like deeply, right? Appreciate to just look at the mountains, not have to go climb them all the time, right? So that's really warrior climbing. But sometimes I was like, wait a minute, I can just actually hike? For a long time, I wouldn't even hike unless climbing was involved, because it just had to be performance, right? Had to show the world I was tough, right? But then with the Taoism and the meditation and the Qigong, realizing that I became strong through effortless power, like I was saying earlier, it made climbing easier. It made climbing turn into something that went from an ego, look at me, to I basically forgot anybody else is there besides the belayer, and I'm barely paying attention to him, right? Now I need to like share that with people, right? And so I find a lot of my friends and colleagues that are still in tech, right? They've got a lot of the same, or they have all the same reasons I had to stay. And I'm not actually here to liberate anybody from their career, right? Or I'm not even sure they even need that. But at least to be an example, like, hey, you can do something different if you want to.
And it reminds me of why the Buddha taught, because you see people living in from your experience, I would guess to be a suboptimal way of living, and you have that view, you have that blessing of having that lens. So for me, it's like I don't want to poke people's bubble, their illusion of ego or of the world, for instance, but it actually doesn't seem kind to let people suffer. It doesn't seem kind, and it's like, for me, it's like maybe like there's a in Tibetan Buddhism, there are fierce compassion deities. They look like demons. They stomp on corpses, and we need those. We need to know how to channel those fierce deities, because that's kindness. Real, like I always use the analogy of like masculine love, that paternal love is, you know, if your kid is just playing video games in the basement, beating off and not making any friends all summer, you take that Xbox, you throw it in the fucking trash and say, get a job, go make some friends. And guess what? That's love.
Oh, I got another one.
That's
love. How about you're married to a woman, or you're partnered with a woman, her emotions are going crazy. All your friends are, oh, that BIT or that woman. Conversely, you could just Literally bring your body in contact with hers, push your weight into her. Whether she's taller than you, shorter than you, does not matter. And be still. Masculine presence, right? Breathe normally. No matter what she's doing. I've done this with my partner. I've literally noticed her shoulders drop.
Wow.
Right? Her breathing go back to normal just from pushing my body weight onto her.
Dude, that's a pro move,
right?
Man. I gotta try that.
Oh, it works, dude. Especially if you push down here, Dantian, your Donjon, push it into them. Not even sexual. It may sound sexual.
It's support.
It may turn that. It's support.
And it reminds me of like, like little dogs, how they love to bark and yap. And they get those like bark vests.
Yeah.
Where it's just a compression vest.
Yeah.
And it's like when there's anxiety or fear or my man's gonna leave me or he's gonna hurt me. And then there's that reactivity. What they need is to feel held and supported. And that's how the masculine assumes that role to support the feminine so that she can open and feed the masculine.
Yes.
And that's the thing. That's what we need. For me, it's like when everyone's closed off in an intimate relationship, like in an argument, no one's getting what they want.
No harmony.
And it takes one person to open, one person to soften and be vulnerable, and the other person opens. And all of a sudden, the heart opens and the love and the nourishment can flow again.
And it works every time. Emotional communication works all the time.
And I gotta try that, dude. And that's the thing. It's like talking with language, we miss each other so easily. It's like more of a labyrinth where it's like, okay, let's squash the space. Like, okay, we disagree. That doesn't mean we can't connect. And I still love you, even though we disagree. Yeah. And then from there, I guarantee the conversation will be much less charged and come to conclusion a lot more easily. You know what I mean?
There's nothing too about the objective versus subjective, right? So I heard a story once about a wife is in the car in the dark, driving her car, partner is in a different car following behind. She says, stay close because I'm scared. I want you to be able to see me. He's 2 cars back the whole drive. She gets home and says, I was really upset with you because I couldn't see you. He goes, well, I could see you. She's like, yeah, but I didn't feel seen. Subjectively, he was wrong. What she wanted was to be able to see him, not just be seen by him from afar, right? So being able to meet someone where they're actually at, not just with, well, I'm right, because I did objectively, I did the right thing. Yeah. Right?
Sorry to interrupt. You guys got some waffles?
Can you close the door? Bro, how funny is that's what Light said. Wait, was that
what just happened?
I have no idea. Wait. Do you remember what Light said?
Yeah.
About, lock this door.
I do.
No way, bro. That's fucking hilarious.
He didn't take his clothes off though, so we're good.
Wait, did somebody come in before with Light?
Like some Amazon dude dropped off a pack.
I have no idea. Okay, let's no. Actually, let's just run it. Don't even edit this out. That's fucking hilarious. Just for context, some dude just opened the podcast studio door. I don't even know. He looked like he was about to drop off some shit. He said like, "Do you guys have some waffle fries or some shit?" And I was like, "What? Can you close the door?" And I was, and my homie Light, who I'm doing a podcast with right after, he was in the studio right before this, and he was like, "Bro, make sure you lock this door. Homies have been opening this shit up." And I was like, "Is he joking?" I don't know if he was joking, bro. Like our homie just coming into the studio. It's kind of hilarious. I guess next time we're locking the door. But I mean, maybe that's a sign, bro. This has been one of my favorite conversations. Thanks, I would love to have you on again. We didn't even get to
talk about. Yeah,
we didn't even get into your past. I mean, traditional Chinese medicine, which it seems like you're quite versed in, is complex, balancing elements as opposed to sort of what the Western medical model likes to preach. Bro, that was so funny. Well, I'm glad it happened at the end of the conversation. Well, we're gonna have to do another one.
Sure, man.
When are you going back to the Canary Islands?
I'm either gonna go back in the middle of March or the end of March. One of the
okay.
Then I'll be back in 3 months after that.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll stay in touch. Maybe we could do another one before you leave.
Sure.
And if not, then after you're back.
Sure.
And I would love to do some Qigong or Tai Chi with you.
Oh, I would love that.
Days.
Yeah.
Or even climb, dude. Do you climb at the movement or the spot?
I climb everywhere.
Yeah, I believe it.
For sure. When I was here before, I had a membership at every climbing gym in the Front Range because the nature of my work was that I would sometimes be coding in different locations.
Yeah.
So I had earth tricks, movement, cool. Evo, now the spot, right?
Yeah.
The spot as well, you know. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I got buddies that climb at movements. I can always get a pass.
Yeah. Sick. Okay, I would love to get into climbing again. I used to be kind of a sick climber. I mean, probably not as sick as you, but like I've gone through waves with it. But I mean, I'm sure you're still climbing like 513s or something.
Well, you know what? I use mostly my lower body, not even my fingers at all. Sometimes I almost feel nothing.
Even on the little cramps.
There's ways to do it to tighten your core, super tighten your core, so you're barely holding on.
I gotta climb with you, bro.
It's fun, man.
It sounds fun.
It's fun.
Sounds like
fun.
a good mix of climbing with Qigong type shit. I feel like that is just a natural, because like I think climbing is much more energetic than it seems at first.
It's a spiritual practice.
For sure.
100%.
Well, Trey, do you want to shout out some of your stuff, what you're
sure.
doing?
I started a company called Mixed Wellness Arts, teaching all the things we just mentioned, right? It's mostly online. I do teach in person with Ember and Ice in Silverthorne and here in Boulder on Arapahoe. And that's every other Sunday around 12 p.m. Come on out. It's fun. Yeah. You can always get in the sauna afterwards and cold plunge as well. What else? I'm also helping with the Queer Crushers of Colorado, the Front Range Queer Crushers or rock climbers, right? Who may be a little timid in the gym when everybody's acting tough, you know? So my idea is I'm trying to protect them emotionally and say, hey, you can climb too. Just because you're wearing pink, who cares? So I got my pink shirt on too. So that's it.
Damn. You're a great guy, my man. What a pleasure to have you on the show. And I'm excited to have you on again.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening.